In this lesson, I'm going to explain how you can help Photoshop relink to assets that it can't find. And if you've worked with Photoshop for a long time, this concept of relinking to assets is probably something you haven't encountered. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate how this works when you use video inside Photoshop, and then I'll explain the ramifications about all that. So I've got Photoshop open here, and I've got the My Photoshop Exercise Files folder open as well with some video clips and still images inside it, which I'll delete when I'm done doing this demonstration. Let me just make a new Photoshop document. Go File, New. I'll have a new document. I'll call it Images. And it's going to be the HD TV size here because these images that I'm going to bring in are this size. They're still frames that were taken from some video. Click OK. I'm going to place some images here. File, Place. I'll go get my still images one at a time. Place them like so. We'll get 3 of them. File, Place. This one here. And we'll get one more here, File, Place. All right, so I've got 3 clips inside here. I'm going to delete the background by clicking that, so that we're all kind of even here, because there won't be a background when I do video. So there are those 3 images, and I'm going to save this file, this Photoshop document, File, Save As. I'm going to call it Images. I'll put it here inside the My Photoshop Exercise Files folder. There it is. Save. And it shows up right there, about 28 megabytes or so. I'm going to close down this, go File, Close All. And now I'm going to bring some video files in here as a new document. So I'll go down here and say Add Media. I'm going to go to the video clips and get 3 HD video clips. These are the same frame size, but these are video clips. They're quite a bit larger than still images. Click Open. So they appear down here in the timeline, and they also appear here in the Layers panel as well. 3 video clips. I'm going to save this PSD file now. Go File, Save As. I'll call it Video. We'll put it in the My Exercise Files folder there. Click Save. And let's see it. Now look at that. The video file, the Photoshop file, is smaller than the images file. What's going on here? Now when you work with images in Photoshop, the images themselves are stored inside the Photoshop file. If you lose the images off your hard drive for some reason, those guys are still going to be inside the Photoshop file. But video is not the same kind of animal. If you stored video files inside your Photoshop document, it would be huge. Let me show you the difference here. Go to the still images. See, these guys are about a megabyte and a half or so. Let's back up a notch here. If you go to the video clips, you see these guys are anywhere from 37 megabytes to 70 megabytes. Much, much bigger because they're video clips, of course. So I'll back up. So you're not storing those guys inside the video PSD file. What's going on there is that you have still frames from those videos stored here, but the actual video files themselves are on your hard drive and must be there and must be able to be accessed by Photoshop or they won't show up inside your project. Let me show you what happens if you change the name of one of those files or move it to a different folder or change the name of a folder. I want to change the name of this folder here, but to do that I need to close Photoshop first, or it won't let me do it. So I'll close down Photoshop. Now I'm going to change the name of this folder. Go Video Clips Old, like that. Just to show you how it works with still images, I'll change this one too, and you'll see that doesn't make any difference. I'm going to change the name of one of the files in here. I'll call Scenic 3 Old as well, like that. Now we'll go back. And I'll open up the images PSD file by double-clicking on it. We'll see what happens. Opens up just fine, even though I changed the name of this folder. It's not looking for those images anymore. It's because those images are stored inside the Photoshop file. I'll close this down. Now I'm going to open up this file here, double-clicking on it, and watch what happens. It won't be able to find them, and you get this message here. Notice, by the way, behind there's the image, because it's a still frame that's stored inside the Photoshop file, but it needs to know where are the video files. Well, you click on Choose here and track it down. You need to find it for Photoshop. And I know that I put them inside this newly named file folder. So double click on that. I'm looking for Scenic 1, so I double click on that. And lo and behold, it finds Scenic 2 as well because it's right there inside the same folder, so it tracks it down. But it doesn't track down Scenic 3 because I changed the name of that file. So now I click on Choose for that one and say, okay, yeah, I changed the name of the file. Here it is. There you go. And now everything's fine. You get check marks next to all 3. And now you click OK. There were exclamation points here a second ago. Now they're gone. And now you can watch the video here inside Photoshop. There you go. It's not just a still frame at the beginning anymore. So the reason I'm telling you this is if you happen to change the name of a folder inside our Working Files folder, then Photoshop won't be able to track down the files inside that folder. Or if you move it to a new location, for example, you've got the Photoshop files in one place and you move the assets someplace else, it again won't be able to find those files. You need to do it for Photoshop. And you're not used to this because Photoshop normally stores the images inside the files. But when you're working with video, It's a reference-based approach, not actually storing the files themselves, but it refers to those files in terms of their locations on the hard drive. But if it can't track down those files, if it can't find them because something's changed, a folder name has changed, a file name has changed, you put it someplace else, you need to manually find it for Photoshop. Just want to let you know it's different when you work with video than it is when you work with still images.